Hello again, everybody. It's another Monday, and that means I'm here hosting The Den with Evan. So this week on The Den, I'm actually surprisingly underqualified to talk about this topic. We're talking marriage equality. Now, being born in 1991 and living in Canada my entire life, this issue's kind of flown right over my head. I've never really had to deal with the whole marriage equality issue. I hate to sound like I'm rubbing it in because I know a lot of people really struggle with this. Some friends of mine that I met at Drench Fur, when they went there, they were married, and by the time they got home, their state no longer recognized their marriage. How fucked up is that over a weekend? Hearing about those type of situations blows my fucking mind. It makes me realize how much I've taken for granted as being Canadian. Now, I in no way want to insinuate that the gay rights fight is over because it's definitely not. We're not anywhere near to the point of equality that we need to be. But I guess I did kind of take for granted all of the rights that I do have. By the time I was actually of any age to consider dating or even start thinking about marriage, the issue was all sorted out. The truth is, the Canadian government has kind of always had the homos back. But I don't want to just do a video on how awesome it is to be in Canada where gay marriage is legal when so many of you are dealing with these stupid issues, so I did some fact finding. Turns out that gay marriage wasn't officially legal in Canada until 2005. Let me tell you the whole story. So my awesome country has been known for having some of the most advanced LGBT rights in the world. We were actually the fourth country to recognize gay marriage, right after the Netherlands, Belgium, and Spain. Going a little bit further back, same-sex activity was actually illegal until 1969. In 1977, Quebec was actually the first province to pass any human rights legislation stating that, you can't discriminate against somebody based on their sexual orientation. So hate on Quebec all you want for speaking French, but they've always been ahead of the curve when it comes to human rights. The whole gays in the military issue in Canada was all resolved back in 1992 across the board. There was none of this don't ask, don't tell bullshit. It was, yep, you want in, you're in. A court case in 1995 led to some legislation that said that our Charter of Rights and Freedoms that defines the rights for all Canadians is to be interpreted in a way that prohibits any discrimination based on sexual orientation. It's kind of a stupid concept when you think about it, but overall it's a huge achievement. Gay Canadians were officially recognized with all of the rights that straight Canadians had. That universally covered employment, immigration, and all sorts of other stupid human rights issues that many other countries are dealing with one by one. And in the year 2000, some further legislation was passed stating that all Canadian same-sex couples would actually be allowed the same common law rights as other married couples. So what does that mean? It means that even though you're not actually married, you can still have a common law marriage, meaning you can claim somebody else as a dependent on your taxes. They're allowed to be in your room visiting you when you're in emergency care. It also tied up a whole ton of loose ends when it comes to legal inheritance and all that sort of gray area that the United States is having so much trouble with right now, where one state will recognize a marriage and the other one will not, and what rights are they allowed. We had that shit all cleared back in 2000. And going even further, in the year 2004, we actually saw a universal ban against any hate propaganda in Canada based on sexual orientation. So it became a legal offense to spread hate against gays. And that's why the government doesn't allow the fucking Westboro Baptist Church in Canada. At all. I mean, of course, they made a special case where clergymen were still excluded so that, they can go ahead and preach religion and hate at the same time. But we're not going to get into that. So now, getting into the fun part, the actual Gay Marriage Act. So by the year 2000, gay rights in Canada were on a pretty damn good track. We were doing really well, we were getting a lot of steam, lots of people talking about our issue. Things really started shaking up in the year 2003. An Ontario Supreme Court justice ruled that not allowing same-sex couples to marry was, in fact, discrimination and a violation of our Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And that prompted the Canadian House of Commons Standing Committee on Justice and Human Rights to conduct the first actual official study on same-sex couples and same-sex marriage. Their study concluded that the Supreme Court of Canada should definitely allow same-sex couples to marry. How crazy is that? And so, in the year 2003, under the Chrétien government, the Liberals officially started trying to pass a law that would allow same-sex couples to get married. And one of the coolest parts was specific legislation was added in stating that no religious group was allowed to prevent or interfere with any of these marriages being performed outside of their own religious beliefs. Basically, they're saying, if I want to have a gay Christian wedding, I can have a gay Christian wedding, and my Christian priest cannot say a single damn thing about it. So 2003 is when we officially got the ball rolling, and in 2005, the Civil Marriage Act of Canada was passed. There was a voting margin of 158 to 133, so it was actually a lot closer than a lot of people think. Canada's decision for legal rights wasn't as much of a landslide as we initially thought. However, doing a bit of this research has made me realize that actually, I was born in the exact right era where I needed to be. Gay rights is still a thing. It's not been around so long that it's a stale issue now, but I'm actually in a pretty awesome era where I'm allowed to do a whole lot and I have a whole lot of rights and benefits and nobody's trying to take them away from me. Now that being said, I seriously empathize with the rest of you guys that are still dealing with the gay marriage equality issue, especially so many of my friends in the United States. I know it's fucking hard. Well, I can't say that I know that it's hard. I've never actually lived it. I can't imagine what it would be like to live under a government that doesn't accurately represent your best interest. But everybody knows that that's what's fucked up with the world today, and politics are all fucked up anyway, and I'm not here to be making any big changes with this little 10-minute video. So, once again, thank you all for watching my shit. I love you all for coming back every week. It's seriously amazing. One other quick note. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I know I'm a day late. I would have called you yesterday, but you were busy. I love you. I miss you. And thank you for everything that you do. Peace out, everybody.